I've been seeing too many people talking shit recently, and it's pissing me off. People are allowed to have preferences, and brands are allowed to create an image with what they want and have a specific type of person wear what they have. Not everybody needs to be catered to by everything and everyone.
I agree
and
with
this
that
is a
too.
lesson I had to learn when I was fat.
Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today we're going to be talking about some stuff that has been going on TikTok that a lot of people have actually asked me to talk about. So the TikToker that we are going to be talking about is this guy right here. His name is Leo Skepi, and he's obviously a very popular TikToker, right? So he has 4.1 million followers, and he makes a lot of videos. He talks a little bit about fashion. He kind of gives people advice. I've seen a few of his TikTok. Actually, the reason that I've actually heard of him is my girlfriend has sent me a few of his TikToks because she likes him, and she's been a fan of his, and she seems to enjoy his content, here and there. And so we'll send each other TikToks. That's how I've seen him. So when I saw his name and saw people were talking about him, I was like, oh, I've seen this guy's content before, right? But what we are going to be talking about is a TikTok that he uploaded that caused quite a bit of backlash. And the reason that we are talking about it on this channel is that it kind of talks about size, inclusivity, and fashion and stuff like that. And so this is the now deleted TikTok. So Leo himself deleted this TikTok after some of the backlash, which we will get into kind of what people were saying. But I wanted to play this TikTok for you guys just so you can get a little bit of an idea of what this is all about.
And not making your size in something does not give you grounds to talk shit and degrade the brand. Brands are allowed to want a certain look and image with their products. They are allowed to make things for the people they want to make them for.
So I agree with that, but also I think that people can be upset about that and talk about that. Does that mean that the brand has to listen to them? No. Does that mean that the brand has to, kind of decide, oh, we have to do what these people are asking for? No, right? And there's plenty of brands that don't do that, right? But I think if people want to be upset about something and they want to make a post about it, I think that's something that they can do, right? That's definitely something that people have a right to do. They can share their opinions, right?
I've been seeing too many people talking shit recently, and it's pissing me off. People are allowed to have preferences, and brands are allowed to create an image with what they want and have a specific type of person wear what they have. Not every
I don't disagree with that.
Everybody needs to be catered to by everything and everyone.
I agree with that too.
And this is a lesson I had to learn when I was fucking fat. I used to think clothes just weren't.
So that right there was where a lot of people kind of had issue with, right? So this is someone that was bigger at one point in their life, and they are kind of talking about their experience, and the way that he said it, I think kind of rubbed people the wrong way. People really don't like when others speak aggressively like this. And again, I have seen a little bit of his content, and I from the context that I have seen with his content this is kind of his thing, is kind of being harsh but still being real, that kind of content, right? And so I think that's what it seems like that's what he was going for, but it seems like he's missed the mark, at least to a lot of his audience. Honestly, a lot of the people that really kind of maybe looked up to him, which literally looked up to him, because I think part of this comes from his own frustrations still, because I think it's 6'7". He's very tall, very, very tall, very large individual, right? And so I think he's struggling with still being probably annoyed to an extent that there's tons of stuff that he can't wear still, right? But now maybe he has a little bit more options. But a lot of people obviously had a lot of issues with him, talking about how he used to be bigger and now,
Flattering. No, babe, the body wasn't fucking flattering. But a lot of brands don't make my size.
Ooh, and that right there, I think that's the clip that you'll see a lot in the response videos to this is, him saying the body wasn't flattering. And a lot of, I've just learned over time with the internet, if you talk about your experience with your body in a negative way, and people relate to maybe how your body looked at that time, right? So if you're saying I used to be fat and I wasn't flattering, people are going to, it seems like a lot of times people take that as you saying that their body isn't flattering, right? So if you say that I myself felt this way about myself, people will still say, oh, so you feel that way about me. And so it's a really, really hard thing to talk about. It's really, really, really difficult. I've dealt with some backlash from this as well. Similar things when I'm talking about how I felt about myself. People felt like I was saying that about them. So I can understand not being ready for the amount of backlash that he got from this kind of post, right?
In a lot of shit still. And if a piece of clothing is not flattering on you, it doesn't mean the item or product is not flattering or is not good. It's not made for you. I'm a size 16 shoe. A lot of brands don't make my size.
Yeah.
Do I waste my time and lend my energy and focus to what I don't want and what I can't have and attacking brands for not making my fucking size? No.
So again, like it's interesting because this whole everything that's kind of going on is very interesting to me with this whole kind of situation, because I want to make it clear, like, I am not on anyone's side here. I don't completely agree with Leo. I don't completely agree with what the other people are saying that are, which we'll get into, the people that are kind of upset with him. I think that he had an opinion, a thing that he said that he felt, and people maybe felt a certain way about it. But I think I just don't understand the whole, like, almost like defending brands. I think the brands can defend themselves. I don't understand being upset at others for saying, hey, like, I would like to be able to wear XYZ thing. I don't know. Like, I'm personally not going to be like, oh, let me defend this brand. Oh my gosh, why would you say that about Lululemon? I don't care. Like, whatever, the brand can handle it, I'm not getting paid by them, so screw them.
Every single human being is very powerful. You have to be careful with where you put your attention and your focus. For you to stick your attention and your energy on what doesn't work for you, what is not made for you, and what brands don't want you to wear their fucking shit, you're never gonna have mental space to think and look for and discover brands that are made for you.
Okay, I understand where he's coming from here. I know I've stopped this a lot, but whatever, it is what it is. I know where he's coming from with that. I don't really love that line of thinking, and this is going to be something I'm sure a ton of people disagree with me on. That's fine, but I don't like the whole kind of thinking of like, oh, don't think about the negatives. Just focus on the things the good things, the positives. I don't really like that because, one, that's not real world. Like, there are going to be negative things that you probably should focus on to avoid or to make sure that thing doesn't happen again. And also, I feel like that line of thinking, a lot of times, I understand that it's trying to be helpful, but I feel like a lot of times it helps people almost. I don't like using these types of words because people get so upset, but like it almost helps people like oppress others. Like, oh, don't focus on this negative thing a lot of times that maybe they're doing to this person. Just think about the positives. It's like, well, like I would rather not have to deal with the negative thing. If you just weren't doing that negative thing to me, I wouldn't have, like, just stop doing it. Well, stop thinking about it. Think about the positives. See those strawberries over there? Those pretty good, right? Like, it's like, well, yes, you should focus on the positive, but it's not like a bad thing. And it doesn't mean that you're a negative Nancy to think about the negatives and think like, okay, why is this bothering me? What? I don't know. I just don't like the idea of like, never think about the negatives. It's only positivity here. I was just like, nah, that's not for me.
You can't keep focusing on what you don't want and find what you do want. Get your fucking attention off of the shit that's not for you and the things you don't like. I'm never gonna find my size in shoes that I like if all I'm doing is sitting here crying how most brands only go to a 13.
Well, like, yeah, I mean, obviously if you're just crying, but if you decided to use your platform and like really harp in on that and really try and make that happen, I wouldn't be surprised if like certain brands were like, oh, let's work with them. Let's make some bigger shoes. I don't know. Like that would not be surprising to me to see. With someone with 4 million followers on TikTok that he gets very good engagement as well. Like, I don't see why a brand wouldn't want to do that, right?
Fuck them. I'm gonna go buy the shoes that go to my size. But key point here. If my focus is nothing but stuck on the brands that don't make my size, I'm gonna feel nothing but frustrated, irritated, singled out, and pissed off. That's a waste of your energy. Being a human being is a very valuable experience, and it's a very precious thing.
So I think that this seems to be the point that he was trying to get across, which I think for him, he's trying to, like, it's a positive message, right? Like, don't focus on the negatives. Don't focus on the things that you don't have. Focus on the things that you can have, or the things that you do have, right? I think in and of itself, that is a positive message. It just seems the way that he went about it, a lot of people didn't like, right? A lot of people maybe just didn't gel with the way that he kind of went about sharing those thoughts.
Don't waste your fucking time on the shit that's not for you. Don't let useless nonsense irritate you. I know social media has a big fucking mental illness of its own with contributing to people lacking perspective of what really fucking matters. Clothes not being in every single person's size is very, very minute and a very minuscule thing compared to what else is going on in the world.
I mean, I don't disagree with that point. Like, it is definitely, like, there are bigger issues for sure. Like, 100%.
Maybe go the fuck outside and go experience some real contrast and see what other people are really dealing with and living with. And you might be a little more appreciative of your situation and the fact that you can go find other shit that does fit you. Brands are allowed to do what they want. I'm not saying they're right or wrong for discriminating. They're gonna do it. You bitching about it is gonna do nothing but ruin your emotional state and your mental state. That's what I wanna protect you from. I gotta be a little harsh with you because I love you. But get your fucking focus off the shit that ain't for you so you can find what is.
So again, that's the video that he released initially, and there was a lot of backlash. And so speaking of that backlash, let's kind of go over that. So one of the more popular videos that was a response to this comes from the creator Remy Bader. We've talked about Remy before, and she kind of shared her perspective. So let's see what she had to say. Again, there's tons of videos, but I feel like this was a pretty good one that kind of goes over exactly what a lot of people were feeling, and she kind of shares her thoughts as well.
A brand not making your size in something does not give you grounds to talk shit and degrade.
This is just like a very freaky take because, like, why do you care so much? I think it's clear that the people that care more about talking about how brands need to be more inclusive are people that don't get the luxury to wear those clothes that we wish that we could wear. But one thing I feel like that he thought that he like said that was like amazing, that like literally is so opposite of the truth, and I can truly say that by experience, is that no, by calling out these brands and by saying that there are so many people out there that like want to buy, have the money to buy the clothes, want to wear these exact clothes that you could just take a little bit more time to make the exact clothes. We don't want different clothes. We don't want frumpy, different. We don't need a new style. Same exact clothes, just make them a little bigger. Just give us some more options. The more we talk about these things, hello, what happened for me 3 years ago? These brands actually started listening because I was calling them out. And yes, did I do it in an appropriate way? I don't think I was bashing the brands, but I call these brands out saying like, I want to wear your clothes too. Hello, do you see me over here? And like letting them be aware that there's a lot of us that also would like to purchase their clothes. And what happened? I ended up being the face for Victoria's Secret Pink and helping them with their size inclusivity. Did that work out amazing?
So that's the whole point though, right? And so like I maybe didn't stop at the best point, but like it didn't work out amazing. Like you basically, like from what I understand, it was like they kind of went for it, but then they just took step backs anyway. So it's like, I think it's very interesting that people will try so hard to make a brand. This is my opinion, okay? And this is an opinion, obviously, of a dude that doesn't really struggle with finding clothes. I've never been a fashionable dude. Like, it's never been that big of a deal to me. Clothes have been clothes. So just understand that I'm coming with it from that perspective. But, like, these brands, if they don't care about you, and it's been clear that this brand does not make the size of clothing that you want, I don't understand why pushing that brand to make something that they clearly don't want to, instead of finding other brands that are already making stuff for you. I don't understand that, because again, like we saw, Remy decided to work with them, and then they basically used her and then threw her away because they're like, whatever, we're over this, right? We're over this trend of body inclusivity. Like, I don't know, man. I just don't understand like why so many people are so focused on like making these brands that obviously don't want to make these size clothing, or maybe they're not even equipped for it, to like force them to do it. It's like, are you even happy about that? Like, are you even happy that this brand is making this? Or because like, did they actually want to do it? Or are they doing it because they're afraid that if they don't, their stock is going to plummet or whatever.
No, maybe not amazing after 2 years because maybe their priorities were in other places, but
yeah, and it always will be. Like, I don't know. Okay, this is not
in the door. I did my best. I was able to speak my mind in those board meetings and say how I felt. Then what did I do? I created Revolve's first brand that was above an XL going up to a 4X. First went up to a 3X. People complained. I realized that was not good enough, and we got it to go to a 4X.
Okay, yes, that's true, right? So it went from a 2X to a 3X, or a 3X to a 4X. But then, like, what if there's people that are like, why don't you have a 5X? Why don't you have a 6X? Why don't you have a 7X? Like, the stuff with clothing, I don't know. It's very interesting to me because at what point is it like, does every brand have to make stuff up to a 6X, a 7X? Like, where is the end point? You know what I mean? I don't know what the answer is to that, but like, what do you expect, right? Like, is there ever going to be an end, or is it just always expecting to make bigger and bigger and bigger sizes, right? Like, or the opposite, make smaller and smaller sizes. Like, every brand has to make children's clothing too. Like, I don't know.
I've done a lot of behind the scenes work that people haven't seen that I'm still pushing for, from just getting in the rooms with these people, because I spoke about it loudly on TikTok and Instagram. If I didn't make a video, if I didn't ever say my frustration online, and if I didn't talk about how these brands need to do better, I would have never been able to make that change. I would have never been able to get in the door. No one knew my name, and no one knew who I was. So how else would I have done that? And I was wondering why this person made this video, and then when I watched the whole thing, I realized that this person was actually a lot bigger in the past and now has lost weight. All I have to say about that, and I feel very passionate about this, is you can do whatever you want with your body. It's no one's business. Do what you want with it. The only thing I have a hard time with is if your body fluctuates and then your thoughts and things that you're putting out in the world change with your body. I think a lot of people forget that when I first came on this platform, I actually was a lot smaller than I am.
So with that, like, I can understand where she's coming from, but I think that it's relatively normal for your body and your mind to change around the same time, because, like, I think a lot of times when we talk about losing weight, a lot of people obviously focus on how do you look, you know, how much weight have you lost, literally, physically, how much weight is off. Oh my God, your face looks so different. You look like a different person, right? We always hear that. But I think a lot of people do change mentally when they're losing weight. And not always in a bad way. And I would say that it's neutral, right? People change good for the good and for the bad. But like, when, like, a lot of times people change because maybe they had, like, for me, I'll just use myself as an example. It's the best way to do it. When I was at my biggest, I was very much so, I had no like self-belief in myself. I didn't think, I had no self-esteem. I still struggle with that, but like, it was a lot worse. I had no self-esteem. I didn't think that I could do anything I set my mind to, like anything at all, right? I really felt unbelievably trapped. And for me, when I started losing weight and realizing that it was possible for me to do that, which was something that I had struggled with my entire life, okay? Like, I was the guy that couldn't even lose 10 pounds, okay? Like, I really thought it was impossible for me. So once I realized, holy crap, I can literally change my life. That definitely changed my personality to an extent. Am I a completely different person? I don't think so. You know, I think that there are tons of things that are very similar about me as when I was at my heaviest versus now, but there has been many changes. I mean, part of that is I am 10 years older now, but there's been a lot of changes. But I think that plenty of people, their mindsets and how they think about things change as they lose weight, because one, you just are aging, right? Because losing weight takes time, and through that, you know, a lot of times people lose weight when they're in their 20s or whatever. That seems to be a pretty common thing, and a lot of people change a lot then. So I think that, you know, just saying like, oh, people that change when they lose weight are the worst, I just disagree. I think some people change for the better, some people change for the worse, but I don't think it has to do with the weight loss being any part of that. It just happens to be something that is also part of it, right?
Now, and my body has fluctuated from losing weight so much in the past 3.5 years that people have seen online. But then you're also forgetting that before I was on this platform, which was only for 3.5 years, my body has fluctuated so much before then too. My point is that no matter what, from what my body was before this platform, what it is now, what it was when I started, whatever, I've always had the same thoughts about this industry and size inclusivity. No matter what, I have always thought that everyone should be able to wear the same clothes. Why is it cut off at a certain point? And why do other people, just because their body looks different, not have the opportunity to wear the same exact clothes that are in the fashion world that these brands have? Why?
Okay, I might sound like a crazy boomer right now, but like for myself, the things that I wore when I was at my heaviest, I wouldn't want to wear now. And the things that I wear now, I wouldn't have wanted to wear when I was at my heaviest. And for me, it didn't really have anything to do with, oh, this stuff doesn't fit me. It just was like I had no desire because I knew that it wouldn't be comfortable. I wear bigger shirts now, but like there was a time when I used to wear pretty tight shirts, when I lost the weight. That is not something I would have wanted to do at my heaviest. And so I don't know. Like, I don't really understand this whole, like, everything has to be exactly the same, because I feel like there are plenty of people that are bigger that would not want to wear exactly what someone that's smaller would want to wear. And I feel like that's completely okay. And like, I don't know. It's very interesting to say, like, it has to be exactly the same overall. So like, you're telling me that the size extra small has to be the same exact cut and fit and everything as the size 5XL, 6XL. I feel like that doesn't make any sense to me. But again, I mean, what do I know, right? I'm just a guy.
There shouldn't be separation. There shouldn't be names. There shouldn't be plus size, mid size, straight size, this, different parts of the website, different parts of the store. We should just all be able to wear the same clothes. It's that simple. And no matter what size I am, I will always, and I promise you, always have the same mindset, regardless of me and my body. My mind will always have the same mindset that yes, brands should be doing more. Brands should be more inclusive, and I will always fight and use my voice to hope that happens.
So I think part of this is that I can agree with is I don't have a problem with like not having to have big and tall sections, just everything be together. I don't really have a problem with that. I think, again, like, if you're going to have the bigger sizes, I do think it makes sense maybe the cuts to be a little bit different. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I don't think that that's a huge problem. But I mean, not having to go to a big and tall section, I'm sure a lot of people might feel nice about. I know I would have when I was at my biggest. It was very annoying that you would just go to a corner in the store and that was like, okay, this is all you can get, right? That can be kind of annoying. But I think part of that is because a lot of places don't make the bigger sizes. But I don't know, like, I think there's probably a reason why. Like, I can't imagine that these brands that are all about making money are just like, no, we don't want to get money off of big people. We hate them. Like, I don't see that happening. I don't know. That's just how I feel. But because of all this backlash, again, there was more than just that video.
All right.
Leo kind of did an apology, not really an apology, but just kind of sharing more about how he feels. Now, I personally, as I've said before, I feel very neutral with this whole thing. I mean, if I'm being completely honest, I think people have taken this way too far and have freaked out way too much. I think Leo maybe said some stuff that he didn't really think about how he was saying stuff, but okay. I don't want to spoil, but let's just let him kind of share how he feels about everything going on now.
To hit this properly, the ego is checked at the door. I got some shit to own up to. I deleted the video because it does the opposite of what I want to do. It made a lot of people feel unsafe with me, and that's the last thing that I want. So this is not gonna be a sappy apology video and be manipulative to try and win anybody over. This all made me realize the time in my life when I was overweight actually does trigger the fuck out of me. And it's not the body and the way that I looked that triggered me. It's the painful mindset I was stuck in that I do not want to be reminded of.
I can't disagree with what he's saying right here.
My whole childhood and early adulthood, I felt very trapped and powerless in a body and a mind that I hated.
I mean, I can agree with this, right? I grew up very similar, very, very poor, right? Like I could not make any decisions, right? So I can understand. I don't know if he's saying he was poor, but like that's what it reminds me of for myself. Like I understand exactly where he's coming from here.
It wasn't my physical appearance. I thought it was. It was really feeling like I had no control over my life and what that perception did to me. And now whenever I feel powerless, I say jarring shit to myself to snap me out of an old mentality and look for empowerment. But me sharing that in the fucked up way that I did was to help a lot of you, and it ended up hurting a lot more of you instead because you feel like I judge you for the way that you look. It also made a lot of people feel like I was judging them for wanting to feel included. That's not what I stand for at all. I never want anyone to feel uncomfortable or unsafe around me, ever. But the way that I said things in that video made a lot of you feel disempowered and criticized instead of feeling like I was looking out for you. And that's always my actual intent, and that don't sit right with me. So the video's gone. But not finding my size in things is something I deal with daily. I'm 6'7" and a size 16 shoe. Clothes are a pain in the ass. Shoes, rarely ever find. Bags, the strap rarely long enough. Doesn't fit over my body. But that's a situation for me that makes me feel very powerless, is when my size is not made. And like I said, I say triggering shit to myself to look for the control I do have when I'm looking at things that make me feel disempowered.
I genuinely really like the way that he has explained this, and I think he did a fantastic job so far, kind of explaining his mindset. So it seems like, from what I'm understanding, it's almost like he was talking to himself in that initial video, right? But obviously just tailoring it more for people that are maybe bigger, like, you know, have some extra weight on them, right? People that might be in a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 XL. For him, he's saying, like, I think in his mind he was thinking, well, I still struggle with not being able to find stuff in my size, right? Shoe size, the strap not fitting, and it seems like this is how he talks to himself. Now, I think that there are a lot of people that maybe can see that, and maybe they talk to themselves that way. But there are also plenty of other people that just aren't there. And frankly, I don't think they'll ever get there, and that's fine. Like, that everyone's different, but the way that you talk to yourself and the things that motivate you are not always going to be the best for other people. And so I think that maybe that he just thought what he was going to say was going to be more empowering than it ended up being, at least to the audience that it got to, right?
And when a brand doesn't make my size, I look at it like saying, fuck them, versus giving them my attention and begging them to include me or bullying them to include me. It's 2024.
Okay, so I understand where he's coming from with that. But again, like, the bullying thing, I don't know. Like, I think if people want to call out a brand, I will never have a problem with that. I really just do not. I just don't care. But that's just me.
These brands know that people come in all shapes, sizes, and colors. They're aware. They're choosing not to make certain things. Either it's a financial decision or it's an attempt to actually exclude you. But my personal relationship to that is feeling disempowered and not giving any of my attention to it. But not everybody has my same relationship to this scenario or the same relationship to feeling powerless. And I don't like that my shit made a lot of people feel hurt. That's my thing to deal with. Everybody is allowed to freely speak their mind. Shouldn't have said that because I was doing it in that video. But the thing I should have communicated better was I find my power in absence. So I'm not going to give attention to the brands who don't cater to me. I'm going to go find the brands and focus on the ones that do.
See, and I like this point, right? 'Cause that's almost exactly what I was saying earlier. Like, why are people so focused on the brands that don't make stuff for them and trying to force them to make it? If it's clear that they don't want to, why not just focus on the brands that already are making the stuff that you can wear now? Or
make my own stuff when I can. With all this being said, my aversion to powerlessness and my own relationship to it and my poor communication of that made a lot of you think that I have an aversion to you because of the way that you look. And I want to make sure everyone knows that is 100% not true. I actually do want to say thank you to everyone who voiced their opinion and told me how hurt you were by this, because it really made me reflect. When people say I'm hurt, that's my wake-up call of like, you did something, because that's never my intent. So instead of sitting here and saying I'm sorry, because those are just words and they don't do anything for anybody, I'm gonna give you my word that I'm gonna continue to do any work necessary to make sure that you always know and feel that I'm looking out for you and I'm here to protect you.
So that's the entire kind of saga that's gone on. You know, he did like that video. And I don't know, I genuinely think he did a pretty good job addressing it, and at least sharing his reasoning I think that a lot of times people really struggle with, obviously we've gone over a lot of like apology videos or people trying to explain themselves, but I feel like, I don't know, I feel like he did a pretty good job explaining himself. Now, is that me saying I completely agree with him? No. But is that me saying I completely disagree with him? No, I have my own thoughts. But I do think he did a relatively good job. And I think that just in general, a lot of people, there's a lot of like kind of overreacting, in my opinion, but that's just how I feel. So I'm curious what you guys think after kind of seeing everything. Do you know, this one's tough because it's not like, I don't think that you necessarily have to completely agree with someone or disagree with them, but like, you know, how did you feel about the apology or the way that he explained it? To me, it made a lot of sense, but that's just how I feel. So I would love to know what you think down in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll see you next time. Peace.